G'day guys, this is episode number 77 at the BS Machine. Welcome back. I am Tommy Kendi, and wherever you are listening to the BS Machine, welcome. Welcome to all my new listeners, which there is plenty of you out there over the last, especially over the last month. I'm super excited to have you guys along, and thank you for all the messages that you've been sending in. It's weird. There's a lot of people that literally find out about the BS Machine, and then they like Netflix, they go from first episode all the way through. Then that's it's pretty cool to listen. And you know, they always get a message, I just listened to the episode about this, and I'm like, oh, I don't even fucking remember that one. But yeah, they're great. You got a lot out of it. So welcome all to all my new listeners, and obviously all the old and listeners that are catching up with the new episodes each and every week. Welcome, guys. Such an honor to have you, and such an honor to be here and chatting to you all once again on another episode. So on this episode, and by the way, I'm recording this episode when the Grand Prix is on, which is literally a stone's throw away from my place. So you might hear helicopters, you might hear cars zooming around, but if you do, that's why. Today's the Grand Prix on the 10th of April in 2022 in Melbourne, Australia. So I've had a quite a reflective week. Let's just say that. Quite a reflective week, and there's been sort of lots going on for me, and lots coming up for me, and I'm finding myself in the middle of a lot of different situations. But really, I'm just finding myself in the middle of my own I guess learnings and own opportunities and own struggles as well. And one of the things that I've really looked back on with myself, and I guess how I've been over my whole entire life, and where I've landed with it. And this was a really important question for me that brought up a lot when I've been doing some reflection work this week. And that question that I kept asking myself is, what the fuck is the point? And yeah, I mean, look, what's the point of life, and so when you can really get into that and understand what the point of not just anyone's life, and not in general sense, but what the fuck is the point of your life? What's the point of my life? And when I asked myself that question, I found it really, really difficult to answer it, because every time I came up with an answer, I just went, that's not the point. That's not what I'm here to do. And I'm not talking about, how you live in the world. I'm not talking about how much joy you have, or how much happiness, or what you do with your career, or with your work, or with your relationships. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about what the fuck is the point of being alive. And so the next thing that I when I went into that question is, what sort of dawned on me is that I'm actually missing the point of this whole experience of life, because that's really what it is. And whether we like it or don't like it, what happens in life is, first, if we're lucky enough to be born into this world, which I mentioned in one of my earliest episodes, that the chances of you actually coming into this world and being born is something like 500 trillion to 1, or some fucked up figure like that, where it's like next level the odds of actually being born into this world. And so basically, we're born, we come out of our mother, and we land in the world, and then we land in this world in such an innocent place. And that's true innocence, where you've come out of the world, or you come out into the world, and you're not attached to any of your beliefs. You're not attached to anything that is wrong or anything that is right. There is no attachments. You just basically pop out, and you're like, oh wow, holy shit, there's actually things here. There's things to experience. And then you move through life. You build on your belief systems. You bleed. Not bleed. You bleed sometimes when you hurt yourself, and you do. Some of us bleed, and you build these certain things that live inside you, and so they live inside you. It's almost like these belief systems and whatnot. They live inside you, almost like your bone and your veins and the blood that runs through the body, and you hold on to, you attach to these belief systems so profoundly and so strongly, and then you move through life and you do your thing, whatever that thing might be, and then you fucking die, and so I mean, I don't want to put a damper on it, but one thing that we can all be pretty certain of is that we're gonna fucking we're gonna die. So it's the true nature. Wait, I just thought of something, because I've actually been writing some weird stuff down. Wait a tick, I want to find it, and I want you to stay here. Where is it? Please let me find it. Here we go. Okay, cool. I've been doing this stuff where I've just been sort of writing shit down and making little poems and little stories. But check this one out. And it's so simple, but it came through, and I just thought about it now because of what I've been talking about. So it's literally a paragraph. So basically, this is what I wrote down. There was a man that had all the ideas, absolute brilliance. His ideas were genius-like. This man sat around thinking about them all day long. Ideas would come to him. He'd do nothing. Then the next day, more ideas would come to him. He still did nothing. This went on for years and years, and then he died. It's sad, but it's true, isn't it? Like, it's like, we come into this world and we have all these experiences, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever they are. We get to have all these experiences, and then we get to the end and it's done, and what happens after that? Many people talk about that there's an afterlife and all that type of stuff. I mean, intuitively, I feel that there is stuff after death. I don't know how we're going to experience it, but that's just my gut feel. I haven't experienced it yet, so I don't know what it's really going to come to. But, intuitively, I reckon there is stuff after death. Like, you die and then something else will happen, whether we're conscious of it as a soul, or whether we're unconscious of it and it happens without us even knowing. Who fucking knows? All of us are going to find out at some point. But really, what I want to drive this episode on is to basically question ourselves of, are we actually missing the point of this whole thing? And so what that asks us to look at, or if we're courageous enough, if we're really missing the point, or we're asking ourselves, what is the point of our lives? Then what's the next thing that would lead on to? The next thing that would lead on to is what you're currently experiencing in your current reality, or in your reality. What are you actually experiencing? And is it something that you're enjoying, or is it something that you're not enjoying? Is there like anger or disappointment or whatever it is? Is there something moving through you that you're not enjoying, or is there something moving through you that you are enjoying? And so there is a lot of you would have seen there's this wheel of life. And in that wheel of life, we all have different things around it, but usually it would bring you back to all the different areas of your life, like relationships, finances, friendships, giving back, your health, your spiritual practices or spirituality, family, fun and joy, things like that. Career also in there, which I forgot to mention. So when we're looking at this wheel of life, usually there is, like, if you imagine a wheel, right, and one of those things or two of those things is totally off skew and totally fucked up, and you're just not enjoying it. For that wheel to smoothly move along, you're going to have to bring all of them to around the same level. And ideally, you want to have them nice and wide. So you want a nice wide wheel. And so is there ever a situation, or is there ever a reality where all those things align and they're all up at level out? Let's say if it's out of 10, they're all up at 9 or 10. And so that wheel of life can move very, very efficiently. And, most of the time, one or two of those things are out of whack or out of balance. But then, does it actually matter? The life to me, when I really look into it, life to me it's a really cool journey, isn't it? And you have to be able to experience all the shit, because if you don't experience all the shit, then you're not going to know what the good is. But also what I think that the shit represents, what I think that in those moments of whether it's conflict, or you're having issues with maybe your health, or you're having issues with finances, family, friendships, whatever that might be, when you're experiencing hardship, or you're experiencing stuff that you're not enjoying, then it really it's beckoning you to look within, because and I always see in a way that whatever I'm experiencing right now, one, I take ownership over it. I take full responsibility, because at the end of the day, as you well know, if you've listened to recent episodes, I always look at my reality and say to myself, okay, cool, Tommy, how did you fucking create this? Remember that thing I told you a while back where it's like, I'm the only one here. So if I'm the only one here, why am I creating this? Why am I actually seeing this reality? Why am I seeing it? How did I create it? What was my involvement? And how can I take responsibility for it? And then once I do that, I can bring myself back into a place of recreation or creating a new reality. And so, and I think the thing that where a lot of us get stuck is that we keep trying to hurry up the process. It's like, all right, fucking hurry up. Like, I want to get out of this shit. Let's hurry it up. And the more you hurry it up, the more you'll stay in the thick of it. And so what you've got to really do is sit in that, I guess, that yucky energy, and not try and rush out of it, because there's always a lesson in there for all of us. I'm myself, doing this all the time, where obviously when I get fucking triggered, if I get triggered, I go off in my triggersome place. I fuck off, and I'm like right there, just like a total unconscious fucking human being. But afterwards, I have this. I have the ability to bring it back and really notice what's going on, and then take responsibility for where I got triggered. And so now I've started doing this thing where I'm not trying to rush out of being in discomfort, or I'm not trying to rush out of getting out of conflict, or I'm not trying to rush out of feeling constricted. And when I can feel myself in that place, when I can feel myself in the energy of that constriction or that yuckiness, and I'm trying to change everything so I can get out of the discomfort, it's not going to serve me at all. If I'm in line with my highest good and I'm being of service to myself, I have to be able to honor the lessons that are coming to me. I have to be able to honor the lessons that I'm either learning or I'm about to learn. And they all come with a level of opportunity, don't they? It's all an opportunity, because if you keep playing the blame game and you're blaming the outside world, you're blaming others, you're blaming situations, you're never ever going to end up in a good spot. And so even with myself, like, look, I'm like, spending my days coaching people and, all on this shit, on this stuff. And I help people get out of really sticky situations. And then when I land in one, what happens? I start going down that path where my unconsciousness would take me. But I'm getting very, very fucking good at bringing myself back to center and bringing myself back to a place of understanding what's going on, and then I can act in my highest good. But then we sort of got to bring it back to that place, isn't it? Like, what's the point? And so the point to me, how's those choppers? They're just rocking along. Have you guys heard the cars yet? Nah, you just hear a chopper. If I hear a Formula One car, I'll stop and let you have a listen. But yeah, so you've got to bring it back to that thing of what the fuck is the point? What's the actual point? What's gonna get you to a place where you feel like there's a purpose for you here? And so I mean, even when we're doing things like, some of us are doing really powerful work where we're helping change and shift and help other human beings around the world, and that's awesome. But do you think that that's any better than someone that is an accountant, or someone that is working in a sales job, or whatever it might be, or someone that's in a stall cleaning up horse manure, or dressing horses, whatever the fuck it is? It doesn't actually matter what you do. What it comes back to is, what the fuck is the point? What's your point? What's the point? Not even point of difference, but what is the reason that when you get to the end of your life and you look back and you go, I get it? And what comes to me when I ask that is that it's not actually the good parts, because the good parts in life, I find, are almost like a celebration of all the good that you've done and all the good work that you've done for yourself. The good parts in life don't just come. It's your creation also, and they come because of the choices that you've made for yourself. And so the good parts in life, the joyous parts, the fun parts, the parts where you get an influx of money and you're like, how the fuck did I get that? I've got no idea how I did that. Or when you're giving back and you're helping people in need, and you see the tears in their eyes just from how you've helped them, whether it's financially or whether it's just simply helping an old lady across the road, or whatever, it's small or as big as it might be, whatever it is. But then the shit part, so I actually believe this now, especially having experiences over the last 45 years. I believe it now, that really the point of life is for us to learn. And the only way we're going to learn is to put ourselves in situations, or whether it's conscious or unconscious, to create situations where we're going to learn. We'll learn about ourselves, learn about others, learn about the world, and then you'll know that down the track, so whatever, if you're experiencing something now that you're not enjoying, you know that there's a very conscious and very a greater way for you to move through that than what you're used to. If you're used to going through either conflict or certain situations in a certain way, then are you going to go through it the same way? If you do, you probably are going to meet exactly the same end result than that what you did last time. And so we have to have the courage to look into this, and I'm doing this myself, where I'm going, okay, cool, well, I'm not gonna move through these situations in exactly the same way. So how can you do that? So if we're going to presume that when you're experiencing the shitty parts of life, if we're going to assume that is actually the point of life, and that doesn't mean that the point is for you to have a shit experience of life. That's not what we're talking about. It's changing our perception of situations. Is that when you're experiencing the shit, then can we then look at that as a really powerful opportunity to learn about ourselves? Because the outer is a true reflection of the inner. And when there's inner turmoil going on, you're going to experience the turmoil on the outside. And as I mentioned before, this whole thing around blaming or carrying on and holding grudges, it might be, or whatever it is that you're experiencing. have a look at it in a different way. Like, have the courage to move in. And most of us, most of the time, want to experience love. We want to experience connection. That's the part. So then how do you go from a place of conflict where you don't get the point, or a place of, what's the actual point in life, to actually experiencing love, connection, togetherness, friendships, relationships, whatever that might be? That's how we do it. We dive deeper into the shittiness and almost smother the shit all over us. Give it a fucking lick. Lick the shit. Lick the shit, man. And that is how we start. Actually, that's disgusting. Don't lick the shit, but just smother it on your face. Okay? We're not going to lick the shit. And actually, if you want to lick the shit. But I don't reckon that. Just maybe just smother yourself in it. You can always clean it off. And we clean it off by understanding that the smell of it and the feeling of it doesn't fucking feel good, doesn't smell good. So why would you keep yourself in there? You wash it off by doing something different than what you did in the past. And then really the point of life, that when you get through it, is you start to become way more aware of the fact that anytime we get to land in uncomfortable situations, in uncomfortable silences, in full out awkwardness, they're the moments that where we can activate this premise, or this assumption of opportunity, and assuming things to be an opportunity, and looking at it going, cool, haven't seen this before, let's fucking dive in and learn something new. And it's going to be clunky. It's not going to feel okay, or it's going to go against what you maybe believe in for your whole entire life. And if it goes against that, so fucking what? Try something new. Do something that you're intuitively being guided to do. And when you do that, that's when I believe magic can happen. But there is no way that you will, so if you're trying to find the point of your existence by pushing everything away and only experiencing the good stuff, you're going to miss it. You're not going to get to grow. You're not going to get to expand who you are. It's impossible. It's fucking impossible. How can you possibly expand if you're only looking for things that make you feel good? It's never gonna get you anywhere. If you're a human being and you're breathing and you are here in this world, then sure as shit, man, you are going to experience some hardships, and it's going to be up to you I should have turned my phone off, sorry guys, but I didn't. But yeah, it's going to be up to you how you move through those hardships. And I believe that the most important things in life are the people you have around you, and how loved you are and how much you love them. This could be relationships, this could be friendships, this could be your family, mum, dad, whatever, brothers, sisters, whatever you have. And that really is our container for our lives. And you've got to nurture all that. Then, you know what, above that is it's probably going to be health. So if your health is all over the shop, then definitely do something about it, because health is number one, man. I'm just telling you from experience that it feels so good to be able to wake up and enjoy the fruits of my previous choices that I've made over the last 5 to 10 years. Not all of them have been amazing, but most of them have been in line with me feeling good in my body, and I always know how to do that. So I'm very, very thankful. And I don't really yap on about health that much, because to me that's just a given. It's just something that is like a no-brainer. And I guess I'm lucky because I get to tune into my body. I'm like, hey, body, physical body, what do you want? Let's, if I can work that. But sometimes my body allows me to eat like shit, to drink, to do shit and whatever, and it's fine. I know my body's okay with that. I'm not saying all the time. I'm just saying here and there, it's all right to let loose a little. I'm not saying you're not allowed. You know your body to tune in. So health probably number one. And number two is most likely to be able to live a really true and authentic life. And that's also not going to be 100%, is it? And that's where we get triggered. And then after that is love, connection, relationships, friendships, family, all that type of stuff. So guys, I think it's super important that you get to experience what the point is of your life. And if this takes... and you know what? Every single person that I ever speak to, because I was just about to talk about writing shit down, but every single person that I've ever interviewed on this podcast or ever talked to, or people that I look up to that are my mentors, every single one of them says, you got to write shit down. And I've been doing that. So I'm very proud of myself for that, because I have been absolutely doing that. Writing shit down, because when you write shit down, it's like it becomes like your Bible, you know. So what I was going to say is, in terms of what's the point of your life, you know, are you missing the point? What's the fucking point? Write it down, like get in there, because you won't get the answer just by thinking about it in your head. And if you do get the answer thinking about it in your head, then you're going to forget about it if you don't write it down. The amount of shit I've got in my books, in my journals, it's so cool. And I'm lucky, even with this podcast, like I'm usually talking about, as you know, I'm usually talking to myself. So this is sort of like a journal for me as well. But sometimes I look back over my podcast and I'm like, let's have a listen to that one. I wonder what the fuck I was yapping on about there. And then I listen to it and I'm like, this guy's fucking wise. Well, it's because that when I'm going through shit, I talk about it and I get some really cool ideas around it, just by simply sharing it with you guys. So anyway, that's the purpose of our podcast today. I'm recording this on Sunday, and I reckon Lewis Hamilton will win the Grand Prix. So is he even in it? I'm pretty sure he's in it. But so this will get released on Monday, but I recorded this on Sunday. So let's see what happens. I reckon Lewis Hamilton is going to be the winner of the Grand Prix. So if you're listening to this tomorrow, I might even put a bet on the Hamo. Put a bet on the Hamo, see what happens. But if he loses, then I might delete this bit. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, enjoy your week. Enjoy everything. Once again, I just want to say thank you for all the messages and stuff you've sent through. And just, this is anything. It's just a little reminder that it really does help the podcast when you guys give it a like or whatever on whatever place you're listening to it, and even a review. If a couple of you guys could leave me a review, that'd be very cool. It just helps to promote the podcast, and it makes it go up. So if you can leave a review wherever you are, that would be unbelievable. If not, fuck you. No, I'm joking. If not, then I just love sharing these podcasts with you and these episodes with you every week. Enjoy the week, guys. Have an epic week, and I love you guts. And go take on the world. And what's the point, man? What's the fucking point?